The wrench slipped from my greasy fingers for the third time tonight. I cursed under my breath, wiping my hands on an oil-stained rag as I crouched beside my ancient Ford pickup in the driveway. The September air carried that familiar New England chill that promised another brutal winter ahead, just like everything else in this fading mill town. From the basement window, I could hear Vanessa's voice drifting up through the glass, that sultry, practiced tone she used for her streaming audience. "Hey there, gorgeous viewers," she purred. "Ready for another wild night?" I rolled my eyes. My wife's little internet hobby had been paying some bills lately, so I couldn't complain too much. Ring lights, cameras, and whatever else she needed for her content creation business. As long as the mortgage got paid, right? That's when my phone buzzed. The text message came from a number I didn't recognize, but the name attached made my mind run cold. Ollie, content manager. "You should see what your wife really does on camera, Mark. Check the hidden folder on her laptop. Password is StreamQueen69. You deserve to know the truth." Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, and tell me in the comments what city you're watching from. My hands started shaking. Not from the cold. I'd heard Vanessa mention this Ollie character before, some young hotshot who claimed he could boost her follower count and manage her brand. 20-something pretty boy with more ambition than sense, from what I gathered. But why would he be texting me at midnight? The basement had gone quiet. I wiped my hands clean and headed inside, my work boots echoing on the hardwood floors of our rundown colonial. The house had seen better days, just like everything else in Millbrook Falls. The wallpaper peeled at the corners, the heating system wheezed like an old man, and half the outlets sparked when you plugged anything in. But it was ours, or would be, once we finished paying the bank for the next 15 years. Vanessa's laptop sat open on the kitchen counter, screensaver bouncing around like a hypnotic ping-pong ball. She must have forgotten to close it after her show. I stared at that screen for a full minute, my conscience wrestling with curiosity. Snooping through your wife's computer. That was crossing a line, wasn't it? But then again, if she had nothing to hide, why would some stranger be texting me cryptic messages about hidden folders? My finger hovered over the trackpad. "Screw it," I muttered, and clicked. The password worked on the first try. StreamQueen69. Real creative, Vanessa. The hidden folder contained 47 video files, each with timestamps from the past 6 months. The thumbnails made my stomach drop into my boots. These weren't her usual streaming content, makeup tutorials, lifestyle vlogs, workout videos. These were intimate, personal, private moments between a husband and wife that had no business being recorded, let alone uploaded to God knows where. I clicked on the most recent file, dated just 3 days ago. The video opened with a clear shot of our bedroom. Our bed. Me, sound asleep after a 14-hour day at the hardware store, completely unaware that a hidden camera was capturing everything. Then Vanessa appeared in frame, wearing that red lingerie I'd bought her for our anniversary. She looked directly into the camera and winked. "Tonight's private show is brought to you by my biggest supporters," she whispered. "Mark has no idea he's about to become the star of the show." I slammed the laptop shut so hard the screen cracked. The basement door creaked open behind me. Vanessa's voice, no longer sultry but sharp with suspicion. "Mark? What are you doing up there?" I turned around slowly, the broken laptop still warm under my palms. My wife stood in the doorway wearing a silk robe that barely covered her thighs, her blonde hair perfectly tousled, makeup still camera-ready. She looked like $1,000,000. She also looked like a complete stranger. "Interesting business model you've got going down there," I said, my voice steady despite the rage building in my chest. "Very entrepreneurial." Her face went pale. "You went through my computer. Somebody sent me the password. Nice touch with the hidden folder, by the way. Very professional." Vanessa's jaw tightened. She stepped into the kitchen, closing the basement door behind her with a soft click. It's not what you think. Really? Because what I think is that my wife has been secretly recording our most intimate moments and selling them to strangers on the internet for the past 6 months. Please enlighten me about what I'm missing. She crossed her arms, and I caught a glimpse of the woman I'd fallen in love with 8 years ago, defiant, beautiful, and absolutely convinced she could talk her way out of anything. The streaming business is competitive, Mark. You need exclusive content to build a real following. This house, your store, everything we have, it's all falling apart. I found a way to make real money. By prostituting our marriage? By being smart. Her voice rose. Then she caught herself and glanced toward the stairs where our kids were sleeping. By using what we have to build something better. Do you know how much I made last month? $12,000. More than your little hardware store brings in during a good quarter. The number hit me like a physical blow. $12,000. I'd been working 60-hour weeks, my hands cracked and bleeding from manual labor, barely keeping the business afloat, while my wife was getting rich by turning our bedroom into a peep show. Who else knows about this? I asked. Something flickered across her face, guilt, maybe, or fear. It's anonymous, screen names only. Nobody knows it's really us. Bullshit. I opened the laptop again, ignoring the spider web of cracks across the screen. These videos have our faces, Vanessa. Our bedroom, our house. How long do you think it takes for someone to figure out who we are and where we live? I scrolled through the comments on her latest video, my heart sinking with each username I recognized. Big Mike 47. That was Mike Torino from the auto shop. Hardware Hank, my own customer, Hank Peterson, who bought screws and washers from me every Tuesday. Even worse, I spotted Deputy Dave in the chat log, which meant Dave Carlson from the police department had been watching my wife perform. Jesus Christ, Vanessa, half the town has seen these videos. She snatched the laptop away from me. You're being dramatic. It's just entertainment. Nobody cares. I care. The words exploded out of me louder than I intended. I care that my wife turned me into a porn star without my consent. I care that my customers have seen me naked. I care that you've been lying to my face for months while I pushed myself to the limit trying to keep us afloat. Vanessa's expression hardened. Don't you dare make this about money. You've been failing at that store for years, Mark. I found a solution. Your solution was to whore out our marriage? The slap came fast and sharp, snapping my head to the side. My cheek burned, but not as much as my pride. In 8 years of marriage, Vanessa had never hit me. We'd had fights, sure. What couple doesn't? But this felt different. This felt like war. Get out, she said quietly. This is my house too. Get out of this kitchen before I call the police and tell them you're threatening me. I stared at my wife, this stranger wearing Vanessa's face, and realized that everything I thought I knew about my life had been a lie. The woman I'd married, the mother of my children, the person I'd trusted with every secret and vulnerability, had been systematically betraying me for profit. Fine, I said, but this isn't over. I grabbed my jacket and truck keys, leaving her standing in the kitchen with her cracked laptop and her guilty conscience. The engine turned over on the third try, coughing like an old man with pneumonia. As I backed out of the driveway, I could see Vanessa watching me through the window, her phone already pressed to her ear, probably calling Ollie to let him know the jig was up. The streets of Millbrook Falls were empty at this hour, just broken streetlights and boarded-up storefronts stretching toward the abandoned textile mill that had once been the heart of our community. I drove aimlessly, my mind racing with questions and my hands shaking with adrenaline. How long had this been going on? Who else was involved? And most importantly, what the hell was I going to do about it? My phone buzzed with another text from Ollie. Sorry you had to find out this way. Meet me at Murphy's Bar tomorrow at 8 p.m. We need to talk. I pulled into the parking lot of my hardware store and sat in the darkness, staring at the message. Whatever game Ollie was playing, whatever angle he was working, I was about to find out just how deep this rabbit hole went. But first, I needed to figure out how to tell my kids that their mother was a liar and their father was a fool. Murphy's bar hadn't changed since I was 21 and stupid. Same sticky floors, same neon beer signs buzzing like fading insects, same smell of stale cigarettes and broken dreams. The kind of place where mill workers used to drink away their paychecks before the factory closed and took half the town's jobs with it. I arrived at 7:30, ordered a whiskey neat, and waited. Ollie walked in at exactly 8 o'clock, and I understood immediately why Vanessa had fallen for whatever line he'd been feeding her. The kid was maybe 25 with perfectly styled hair, designer jeans, and the kind of confident swagger that comes from never having worked a real job in your life. He spotted me at the bar and flashed a smile that probably cost more than my monthly insurance payment. "Mark, right? Thanks for coming." He slid onto the bar stool next to me and ordered something with a name I couldn't pronounce. I know this is awkward. Awkward doesn't begin to cover it. I finished my whiskey and signaled for another. "Start talking." Ollie glanced around the nearly empty bar, then leaned closer. "Look, I want you to know that I never intended for things to go this far. When Vanessa first contacted me about growing her streaming audience, I thought we were talking about legitimate content, lifestyle stuff, maybe some fitness videos. She's got the look, natural charisma." Cut the shit. You knew exactly what kind of content she was making. He held up his hands. "You're right. I knew. But Mark, you have to understand, this industry is incredibly competitive. There are thousands of women trying to make it as content creators. Vanessa needed something that would set her apart from the crowd." "So, you suggested she secretly record her husband?" "I suggested she explore more intimate content with her partner's consent. She told me you were on board with the whole thing." The lie hit me like a sucker punch. "She told you I knew?" "Absolutely. She said you two had discussed it, and that you were excited about the extra income. I have text messages where she specifically mentions how supportive you've been." Ollie pulled out his phone and showed me a screenshot of a conversation with Vanessa from 3 months ago. Her message read, "Mark loves the idea. He says it's like being in our own private movie. The money doesn't hurt either." I stared at the screen, my vision blurring with rage. Not only had Vanessa betrayed me, but she'd been actively lying to her accomplices about my involvement, making me complicit in my own humiliation. "There's more," Ollie continued. "The private shows, the custom content, the premium subscriptions. She told me all of that was your idea. Said you were the one pushing to make more money." "How much money are we talking about?" Ollie's expression grew uncomfortable. "Last month? About 18,000. Total, over the past 6 months, probably close to $70,000. $70,000. While I'd been eating bologna sandwiches for lunch and patching holes in my work boots with duct tape, my wife had been sitting on enough money to pay off our credit cards and fix the leaking roof." "Where's the money now?" "That's complicated. Vanessa set up the accounts, handles all the payments. I just take a 20% management fee. So she's been hiding $14,000 a month from me." Ollie nodded miserably. "I'm really sorry, man. I thought you guys were partners in this. When I realized you didn't know, I had to tell you. It didn't feel right." I studied his face, looking for tells. The kid seemed genuinely remorseful, but something didn't add up. "Why now? Why not 3 months ago when this started?" "Because yesterday she asked me to help her set up a separate bank account. Said she wanted to surprise you with a vacation or something, but..." He shrugged. It felt sketchy. Like maybe she was planning to leave. The bottom dropped out of my stomach. Leave? I don't know for sure. But she's been asking a lot of questions about relocating, finding new markets, building an audience in different cities. And she mentioned something about consulting with a lawyer. A lawyer. The whiskey turned to acid in my throat. My phone buzzed with a text from Vanessa. "Kids are asking where you are. Come home so we can talk like adults." I showed the message to Ollie. What do you think? Genuine concern or damage control? With Vanessa? Probably both. He finished his fancy drink and stood up. Look, I know this is a mess, but I want to make it right. If you want me to stop working with her, I will. If you want copies of all the financial records, I can get those for you, whatever you need. Why would you help me? She's your meal ticket. Ollie's boyish face hardened slightly. Because I've got sisters, man. And if some guy was doing this to one of them behind their husband's back, I'd want someone to have their back. Maybe the kid wasn't as slimy as I'd thought. Or maybe he was just a better actor than most. Either way, I needed allies, and Ollie had information I couldn't get anywhere else. I want everything, I said. Financial records, subscriber lists, video files, chat logs, everything. Done. Give me 24 hours. We shook hands, and I watched him walk out into the night. Then I ordered another whiskey and tried to figure out my next move. The drive home took longer than usual. I kept taking random turns, circling blocks, anything to delay the inevitable confrontation. But eventually, I ran out of gas and excuses. Vanessa was waiting in the living room, still wearing that silk robe, her laptop open on the coffee table. She'd fixed the cracked screen with clear tape, which somehow made everything worse. Even her attempts to cover up the damage were half-assed. "We need to talk," she said without looking up. "I'm listening." "I know you're angry, and you have every right to be. I should have told you from the beginning." "Told me what? That you were secretly recording us? That you were lying to your business partner about my involvement? That you've been hiding thousands of dollars from me while I pushed myself to the limit?" She finally looked up, and I saw something in her eyes I'd never seen before. Calculation. Like she was running numbers in her head, figuring out the best angle to play. "The money was supposed to be a surprise," she said. "I was saving up to pay off the house. To give us a fresh start." "Bullshit. Ollie told me you were asking about separate bank accounts and consulting with lawyers." Her face went pale. "You talked to Ollie?" "He's the one who told me about the hidden folder. Seems like your business partner grew a conscience." Vanessa slammed the laptop shut. "That little weasel. I should have known he'd try to play both sides." "So it's Ollie's fault now? Not yours for lying and cheating and turning our bedroom into a porn studio? I never cheated on you. You violated my privacy and sold intimate videos of me without my consent. If that's not cheating, it's something worse." She stood up and started pacing, the silk robe swirling around her legs. "You don't understand the pressure I'm under, Mark. This house is falling apart. Your store barely breaks even. The kids need new clothes, new shoes, college funds. I found a way to solve our problems, and instead of being grateful, you're acting like I committed some terrible crime." "You did commit a crime. Recording someone without their consent is illegal in this state. Good luck proving that in court. It's my bedroom too, my house too. I have every right to film whatever I want in my own home." The casual cruelty in her voice hit me harder than the slap had. This wasn't the woman I'd married. This wasn't even the woman I'd been fighting with for the past year. This was someone else entirely, someone cold and calculating and utterly without remorse. "What happened to you?" I asked quietly. For just a moment her mask slipped, and I saw a flicker of the old Vanessa, uncertain, vulnerable, maybe even a little scared. But then the walls went back up. "I grew up," she said. "I stopped waiting for someone else to fix my problems. Our problems. We're supposed to be a team. Teams don't have unnecessary weight." The words hung in the air between us like a final judgment. 8 years of marriage, 2 kids, a lifetime of shared dreams and struggles, and she'd just reduced me to a burden. I walked to the front closet and grabbed my overnight bag. "Where are you going?" "Somewhere that doesn't make me feel like a stranger in my own life." "The kids will ask questions. Tell them the truth. Their mother is a liar, and their father is a fool." I headed for the door, but her voice stopped me. Mark, I turned around. This doesn't have to be the end of us. We can work through this. We can be partners for real this time. Partners in what? Your porn business? Partners in building something bigger, something that could set our family up for life. I stared at my wife, searching for any trace of the woman I'd fallen in love with, but all I saw was a stranger wearing Vanessa's face, offering to pimp out our marriage for profit. Go to hell, I said, and walked out into the night. My sister Emily's apartment sat above her bar in the old downtown district, where the building still had character and the rent was cheap enough for working people to afford. She answered the door in pajamas and a scowl, her dark hair sticking up at odd angles. Do you know what time it is? She demanded. Late enough that you're the only person I can talk to without explaining why my wife is a sociopath. Emily's expression softened. She stepped aside and let me in. Coffee or whiskey? Both. Her apartment was everything mine wasn't. Clean, organized, decorated with actual thought instead of whatever was on sale at the furniture warehouse. Emily had always been the responsible one, the one who made smart choices and planned for the future, which made it even more humiliating to show up at her door like a refugee from my own marriage. She handed me a mug of coffee with a generous splash of bourbon and settled into the chair across from me. Start from the beginning. I told her everything. The hidden videos, the secret bank accounts, Vanessa's complete lack of remorse, Ollie's revelations about the money and the lawyer. Emily listened without interruption, her face growing darker with each detail. $70,000, she said when I finished. Hidden in accounts I didn't even know existed. And she's been telling people you were involved? According to Ollie, yeah. Making it sound like this was all my idea. Emily stood up and started pacing, which meant she was either thinking or planning someone's murder. With my sister, it was usually both. Okay, she said finally. First things first, you need a lawyer. Not just any lawyer, but someone who specializes in this kind of thing. Digital privacy, financial fraud, whatever the hell this qualifies as. I can't afford a lawyer. You know what my finances look like. You can't afford not to have one. Vanessa's already consulting with someone, which means she's planning her next move. You need to be ready. She was right, of course. Emily was always right, which was why I should have talked to her months ago instead of trying to handle everything myself. There's something else, I said. The people who've been watching these videos, they're not anonymous strangers. They're my customers, my neighbors, guys I see every day. How do I face them knowing they've seen me naked? Emily's laugh was sharp and bitter. Honey, you're worried about the wrong thing. Those men should be embarrassed about paying to watch stolen porn. You're the victim here. It doesn't feel that way. Because you're a man, and men aren't supposed to be victims of exploitation. But that's exactly what this is, Mark. Your wife took advantage of you for profit. The fact that she's attractive and female doesn't make it any less disgusting. I'd been thinking of it as betrayal, as lies and financial fraud, but Emily was right. This was exploitation. Vanessa had used me to make money without my consent. If the genders were reversed, everyone would be calling it what it was. So, what do? You fight back, but smart, not angry. Angry gets you in trouble. Smart gets you justice. Emily disappeared into her bedroom and came back with a laptop. First, we document everything. Screenshots, bank records, whatever Ollie can give you. Then we figure out who else is involved. What do you mean? Vanessa didn't set up this whole operation by herself. Someone taught her how to hide money, how to set up the streaming accounts, how to market this stuff. She's got accomplices. I thought about the usernames I'd recognized in the chat logs. She's got friends who are streamers too. Janet Morrison and Marie Santos. They're always hanging around the house, talking about content strategy and building their brands. Janet Morrison? Emily's fingers paused over the keyboard. Short blonde, drives a BMW, married to that insurance guy? That's her. She was in here last week with some young guy, talking about investment opportunities and passive income streams. Very hush-hush, very secretive. What kind of investment opportunities? The kind that involve attractive women and wealthy men with more money than sense. Emily's expression hardened. I think your wife's little porn business is just the tip of the iceberg. My phone buzzed with a text from Ollie. Got the files you wanted. Can you meet tomorrow morning? There's stuff you need to see ASAP. I showed Emily the message. Think it's a trap? Only one way to find out. But we're going together, and we're meeting somewhere public. He seems like he's trying to help. He's a 25-year-old kid who makes money managing porn stars. His definition of help might not align with yours. Emily was right to be suspicious. I'd been trusting people too easily, assuming the best when I should have been watching for knives in the back. Time to start thinking like everyone else was the enemy until proven otherwise. We arranged to meet Ollie at the diner on Route 9, far enough from town that we wouldn't run into anyone I knew. Then, Emily poured me another bourbon-laced coffee and started pulling up information on her laptop. Let's see what we can find about your wife's business partners, she said. Janet Morrison's social media profiles painted the picture of a woman living well beyond her husband's insurance salesman income. Designer clothes, expensive dinners, weekend trips to Boston and New York. Either she was hiding debt, or she had income sources that weren't immediately obvious. Marie Santos was more subtle, but the signs were there: new car, home renovations, jewelry that cost more than most people's monthly rent. Both women had been posting a lot of lifestyle content lately, with captions about financial independence and taking control of your future. They're recruiting, Emily said. Look at these posts. They're selling a lifestyle to other women, promising easy money and freedom. Classic pyramid scheme setup. You think Vanessa's part of some kind of network? I think your wife stumbled into something bigger than amateur porn. These women are running a business, and you were just the product. The idea made my skin crawl. Bad enough that Vanessa had betrayed our marriage for money. Worse that she'd done it as part of some organized operation that treated husbands like commodities to be exploited. My phone rang, Vanessa's name on the caller ID. Don't answer, Emily warned. I let it go to voicemail, then played the message on speaker. Mark, please come home. The kids are asking questions I don't know how to answer. We can work this out, but not if you're hiding at Emily's place like a child. Call me back. Manipulative bastard, Emily muttered. She's right about the kids, though. They need to know what's happening. They need to know the truth, not whatever story she's planning to feed them. Which is why you need to get ahead of this thing before she controls the narrative. Emily was right again. In any war, the first casualty is truth, and the winner is whoever gets their version of events out first. Vanessa had already been lying about my involvement to Ollie, and probably others. If I didn't act fast, I'd be painted as the villain in my own story. Tomorrow, I said. After we talk to Ollie, I'm going home to get my things and talk to the kids. And if Vanessa tries to stop you, then I guess we'll find out how far she's willing to go to protect her little business empire. Emily smiled grimly. That's the spirit. But Mark? Yeah? Whatever you find out tomorrow, whatever Ollie shows you, don't do anything stupid. Don't give Vanessa ammunition to use against you. What do you mean? I mean you're a big guy with a temper, and she's a pretty woman who knows how to play victim. If this goes to court, you need to be the reasonable one, the responsible one, the one who took the high road. She was right, of course. But as I lay on her couch that night, staring at the ceiling and thinking about everything I'd lost, taking the high road felt like the last thing I wanted to do. What I wanted was revenge. Ollie was already waiting in a corner booth when Emily and I arrived at the diner the next morning. He'd traded his designer clothes for jeans and a hoodie, trying to look casual, but his nervous energy gave him away. The kid was scared. Thanks for coming, he said, as we slid into the booth across from him. And you must be Emily. I've heard a lot about you. All bad, I hope, Emily replied dryly. Let's see what you've got. Ollie opened his laptop and turned it toward us. I spent all night pulling together everything I could find. Financial records, subscriber data, chat logs, video metadata. It's worse than I thought. The spreadsheet on his screen showed a complex web of accounts, payments, and percentages. Vanessa's operation wasn't just selling videos. She was running subscription services, custom content requests, private video calls, and something called premium experiences. "What are premium experiences?" I asked. Ollie's face reddened. "In-person meetups, private shows, escort services basically, though they don't call it that." Emily leaned forward. Vanessa was prostituting herself. Not Vanessa specifically, but some of the women in the network, yeah. It's all very carefully organized to avoid legal issues. They call it lifestyle consulting or personal coaching. But the clients are paying for intimacy. "What network?" I demanded. Ollie clicked to another tab, revealing an organizational chart that sent a chill through me. Vanessa wasn't just working with Janet and Marie. She was part of a network of at least 20 women, all managed by the same parent company, all selling the same services to the same pool of wealthy clients. "It's called Intimate Lifestyle Solutions," Ollie explained. "They recruit attractive married women, help them set up streaming accounts, provide technical support and marketing. In exchange, they take 40% of all revenue." 40%? Emily whistled. "That's a hell of a management fee." It gets worse. Look at the client list. The names on Ollie's screen made me feel sick. Local business owners, politicians, even a few cops. Men I knew, men I'd done business with, men who'd been paying to watch my wife perform while shaking my hand and asking about my family. "How did you get all this information?" Emily asked. Ollie shifted uncomfortably. "I may have exaggerated my role in all this. I'm not just Vanessa's manager. I'm an IT contractor for the whole network. I help with website maintenance, payment processing, technical support. I have access to everything." "Why are you showing us this?" I asked. "If you're part of the operation, why risk exposing it?" "Because it's gotten out of control. When I started working with these women, I thought we were helping them build legitimate businesses. But it's turned into something else. Something that's destroying families and exploiting people who don't even know they're being exploited." He clicked to another tab showing a forum where clients discussed their experiences in graphic detail. I recognized several of the usernames from Vanessa's chat logs, including Big Mike 47 and Hardware Hank. "They rate the women like products," Ollie continued. "Compare services, share videos, plan group purchases. Some of these guys are spending thousands of dollars a month." "On what?" Emily demanded. "Custom videos, private shows, personal meetups. There's even a subscription service where clients can request specific scenarios. Like, they'll pay extra to watch a woman seduce her husband on camera, or to see fights and makeups, or to witness authentic, intimate moments." The pieces clicked into place with sickening clarity. "That's why Vanessa started recording us. Someone paid her to do it." Ollie nodded miserably. "There's a whole category called unwitting husband content. It's one of the most popular offerings. Clients pay premium rates to watch women manipulate their partners into intimate situations while secretly filming." Emily grabbed my arm as I started to stand up. "Sit down," she hissed. "Getting angry won't help." But I was beyond angry. I was homicidal. The woman I'd married, the mother of my children, had turned me into a product to be sold to the highest bidder. She'd manipulated me, lied to me, and violated me in ways I was still discovering. "Who's running this network?" I asked through gritted teeth. "That's the thing, I'm not sure. All the payments go through shell companies and offshore accounts, but based on the organization and the client list, it has to be someone local, someone with connections. Someone like Janet Morrison." Ollie's eyes widened. "How did you know?" "Lucky guess. What's her role?" "Regional coordinator. She recruits new women, provides training, handles the high-end clients. She's also the one who suggested the unwitting husband angle to Vanessa." Emily and I exchanged glances. Training in what? She asked. Seduction techniques, camera angles, how to hide equipment, how to manipulate partners without raising suspicion. There's a whole manual. Show me. Ollie pulled up a PDF document titled Intimate Revenue Optimization, a Guide for Modern Women. The table of contents made me want to vomit. Chapter 1. Identifying Opportunities in Your Relationship. Chapter 2. Equipment Setup and Concealment. Chapter 3. Psychological Manipulation Techniques. Chapter 4. Maximizing Client Engagement. Chapter 5. Legal Protection and Plausible Deniability. This is a handbook for manipulators, Emily said flatly. Gets worse, Ollie muttered, scrolling to a section called Partner Management. Look at this. The text offered detailed advice on how to gaslight husbands who became suspicious, how to use children as leverage, how to manipulate finances to maintain control, and how to prepare for relationship termination if the operation was discovered. Under relationship termination, I found a checklist that read like a battle plan. Secure separate bank accounts, consult divorce attorney, document partner's abusive behavior, build support network of fellow victims, prepare custody. Strategy, liquidate joint assets. She's been following this playbook step by step, I realized. The separate accounts, the lawyer consultation, probably even the fight last night. There's more, Ollie said. Look at the client communication logs. He showed me a series of messages between Vanessa and someone called premium_client_47. The conversations were explicitly intimate, but they also contained personal details about our marriage, our finances, our children. She'd been sharing intimate details of our family life with strangers who were paying for the privilege of violating our privacy. One message from 3 weeks ago made my hands shake with rage. Mark's been working late every night trying to save his failing business. Perfect opportunity for content creation. He's so exhausted he barely notices the cameras anymore. Tonight I'm planning something special for my premium subscribers. I remember that night, I said quietly. I came home exhausted. She seemed unusually affectionate. I thought she was being supportive. She was performing, Emily said grimly. Everything was an act. Ollie closed the laptop. There's one more thing you need to know. The network is planning to expand. They're looking at franchising the operation to other cities, recruiting more women, building a national client base. If this thing isn't stopped, it's going to destroy a lot more families. Why are you telling us this? Emily asked again. What's in it for you? Because I've got a sister who's married with kids, and if someone was doing this to her, I'd want someone to help her husband fight back. Ollie's voice was steady, but his hands were shaking. And because I'm tired of being part of something that turns people into products. What do you want from us? I asked. Help me shut it down. I've got all the technical access, but I need someone on the inside who can gather evidence and someone with connections who can make sure the right people see it. Emily smiled grimly. You want to burn the whole thing down. Every last bit of it. I looked at my sister, then at Ollie, then at the laptop containing evidence of my wife's betrayal and the systematic exploitation of dozens of families. The smart thing would be to take the evidence to a lawyer, file for divorce, and try to salvage what was left of my life. But I wasn't feeling particularly smart. What do you need us to do? First, we need more evidence. Financial records, client lists, communications between the coordinators. I can get the digital stuff, but we need physical proof, documents, equipment, maybe even recordings of their planning meetings. That means getting close to Janet and Marie, Emily said. And Vanessa, I added. I need to go home anyway to get my things and talk to the kids. Maybe I can find out what she's really planning. Be careful, Ollie warned. These women are professionals. They know how to manipulate people, how to turn situations to their advantage. Don't underestimate them. Don't underestimate me either, I replied. I've got 8 years of marriage to make up for, and I'm just getting started. As we left the diner, Emily grabbed my arm. You sure about this? Once we start down this path, there's no going back. There's already no going back. Vanessa made sure of that when she turned our marriage into a business transaction. Okay then, let's go to war. The house looked exactly the same from the outside, but everything felt different as I pulled into the driveway. 2 days ago, this had been home. Now it was enemy territory. Vanessa's car was gone, which meant she was either at Janet's place or meeting with her lawyer. Perfect. I needed time to search the house without interruption. My key still worked, though I half expected her to have changed the locks already. The living room showed signs of hasty cleanup. Her laptop was gone, and the coffee table where she'd been working was cleared of everything except a few magazines and a coffee mug. I started in the basement, looking for the streaming equipment I knew had to be hidden somewhere. It didn't take long to find the setup: a professional-grade camera mounted behind a false panel in the ceiling, wireless transmitters hidden in the heating ducts, and a control station tucked behind the water heater. The sophistication of the installation told me everything I needed to know. This wasn't amateur hour. Someone with serious technical knowledge had designed this system, and it had cost serious money to implement. I took photos of everything with my phone, then headed upstairs to search the bedroom. The hidden camera Ollie had shown me in the videos was concealed inside what looked like a smoke detector. I found 2 more cameras disguised as electrical outlets, and another one built into the frame of a family photo. Our most intimate moments had been recorded from multiple angles, like a professional porn shoot. In Vanessa's dresser, I found a manila folder tucked behind her lingerie drawer. Inside were bank statements for 3 accounts I'd never heard of, totaling just over $86,000. There were also receipts for equipment purchases, a contract with something called Digital Content Solutions LLC, and a handwritten note that made my mind run cold. M is getting suspicious. May need to accelerate timeline. Discuss custody strategy with J. Prepare financial documentation for DA. DA had to be her divorce attorney, and J was obviously Janet. The sound of a car in the driveway made me freeze. I quickly photographed the documents, replaced the folder, and headed for the stairs just as the front door opened. Mark? Are you here? Vanessa's voice carefully neutral. Upstairs. Getting some clothes. She appeared in the bedroom doorway a moment later, looking perfectly composed in a way that now seemed sinister instead of admirable. Everything about her was calculated: the concerned expression, the casual outfit, even the way she stood with her arms crossed, but not aggressively. We need to talk, she said. I'm listening. I know you're angry, and you have every right to be. I should have been honest with you from the beginning, but Mark, we can work through this. We can be partners for real this time. Partners in your prostitution business? Her face hardened slightly. It's not prostitution. It's content creation. It's entertainment. And it's been paying our bills while your store hemorrhages money. My store hemorrhages money because I've been working 16-hour days trying to keep us afloat while you've been secretly recording us for profit. Your store hemorrhages money because you refuse to adapt to reality. The world has changed, Mark. People make money online now. They build brands, create content, monetize their lives. I found a way to do that, and instead of supporting me, you're acting like I committed some terrible crime. You violated my privacy, exploited my body for profit, and lied to my face for months. If that's not a crime, it should be. Vanessa stepped closer, and I caught a whiff of her perfume, the same scent she'd worn on our first date, our wedding day, every important moment in our relationship. Now it just smelled like betrayal. I was trying to save our family, she said softly. This house, the kids' college funds, our future, none of it was going to happen on your hardware store income. I found a solution. Your solution was to turn me into a porn star without my consent. I was going to tell you eventually. Once the business was established, once you could see how much money we were making, I thought you'd understand. Understand what? That my wife is a sociopath? The mask slipped for just a moment, and I saw something cold and calculating flash across her face. But then the concerned wife expression was back. "The kids are asking questions," she said. "They want to know why Daddy isn't coming home." "What did you tell them?" "That we're having some grown-up problems and need time to work things out." "But they're scared, Mark. They think you're leaving them." The emotional manipulation was textbook. Use the children as leverage, make me feel guilty for her choices, position herself as the victim trying to hold the family together. I might have fallen for it 2 days ago. Now I could see the strings. "I'll talk to them," I said, "but not here. Not in this house where you've been recording everything. I'm not recording now." "How would I know? How would I ever know? You've been lying to me for months, Vanessa. About money, about business, about what you've been doing in our bed. Why should I believe anything you say now?" She sat down on the edge of the bed, our bed, where she'd manipulated me into performing for strangers, and put her head in her hands. For a moment, she looked genuinely distressed. "I never meant for it to go this far," she said quietly. "It started small. Just some streaming, some photos. But the money was so good, and Janet said there was so much more we could make if we just pushed the boundaries a little." "Janet said?" Vanessa looked up, and I realized she'd just made a mistake. She was just trying to help. She's been doing this longer, she knows the business. "What business, exactly?" "Content creation, lifestyle streaming, building a personal brand." "Is that what you call prostitution now? Building a personal brand?" "It's not prostitution." The composure cracked completely. "God, you're so naive, Mark. Do you think I'm the only woman making money this way? Do you think Janet and Marie and dozens of other women are all wrongdoers because they found a way to monetize their appeal? I think you're criminals who exploit your husbands and destroy families for profit." Vanessa stood up abruptly. "Get out. This is my house too. Not for much longer. My lawyer says I have grounds for a restraining order based on your threatening behavior last night." "What threatening behavior?" "You were aggressive. You invaded my privacy by going through my computer. You made me feel unsafe in my own home." The gaslighting was so blatant it was almost impressive. She was rewriting history in real time, turning her betrayal into my fault, her criminal behavior into my aggression. "You're unbelievable," I said. "I'm protecting my family. Something you've never been very good at." I grabbed my overnight bag and headed for the door. "Tell the kids I love them and I'll see them soon." "Where are you going?" "Somewhere that doesn't make me feel like a stranger in my own life." As I reached the front door, her voice stopped me one more time. "Mark." I turned around. "This doesn't have to be a war. We can still work together. The business is growing, there's room for both of us. You could be my partner instead of my victim." "Partner in what? Exploiting other families the way you exploited ours?" "Partner in building something bigger than this small-town bullshit. Something that could set our kids up for life." I stared at my wife, this stranger wearing Vanessa's face, and realized she was completely serious. She genuinely believed that what she'd been doing was justified, even admirable. In her mind, she was the entrepreneur, and I was the obstacle to success. "Go to hell," I said, and walked out. But as I drove away, I couldn't stop thinking about what she'd said. The business is growing. There's room for both of us. How many other families were they planning to destroy? How many other husbands were about to discover that their wives had turned them into products? And most importantly, how was I going to stop them?